Okay, folks, here we go.
Here we go. Let's have a good show.
1B, stand by. Okay,
Yeah.
Yacht, stand.
Yeah,
Take it.
take it at midfield.
Okay,
Just go right now. Go to camera 3. 3. Go to the gate. Perfect. Just like that.
I'll just go ahead.
Yep. Graphics 2 is going to be up.
Feet.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
And
Yep, I am.
Wait for it. 2.5 minutes.
1B, stand by.
10,
couple minutes.
9, 8, 7, 6,
5,
5,
4.
1B, stand by.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
5,
4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Okay, and go for it, guys.
All right, here we go, guys. Here we are live now, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and 7 p.m. Canal Zone time, guys. It is Friday night. It's happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. Jam-packed show tonight, guys. We've got, of course, World Cup coverage with Paris Royo coming on. And also, we're going to have some really interesting conversations about the Canal Zone documentary and the Canal Zone documentary Substack with Thane Wheeler. So that's going to be awesome. A couple other announcements of things going on here. But, Ricky, happy Friday to you, man.
Hey guys, happy Friday to everybody out there. And always remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit follow.
That's right.
And
Subscribe,
notify.
like, and
It's actually
notify.
notify more than follow. Well, listen, guys, welcome to our Friday night happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. Tonight we have dollar specials, Soberanas, Balboas, Panamas, and Cristals, and $1.50 for some Corvina ceviche and some pulpo ceviche. So don't forget to join us
That's it.
every week here for a happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. Guys, we're a podcast totally dedicated to the Canal Zone community, to the Panama Canal, to its history, to its architecture, and now to its documentary. So
Yes,
let's
indeed.
grab our glasses, our mugs, our chalice, whatever it is that we like to drink out of,
Chalice, I love that.
and let's toast to that eighth wonder.
Yes,
And guys,
indeed.
enjoy our show. We've got a great show
You
for you
got it,
tonight.
man. Salute to everybody, you know.
Salute.
And actually, we're going to start it on a little bit of a somber note, but certainly worthy of a toast, nonetheless, because we've had some close friends of the Canal Zone and personal friends of ours as well that have crossed that bridge, and so we just want to mention their names. George Tochterman, he was somebody that a lot of our parents, as far as like my age goes, he was, my dad a cop and your dad a cop. He was one of their leaders. He was one of their sergeants and moved up to lieutenant. And he was somebody that was, really well liked. I posted this morning on the Canal Zone police page and on several other pages about it. And I mean, just nothing but, kind words to say about George Tochterman and about the person he was and everything. And we've had his son Steve Tochterman on the show, and he mentioned, great guy. And certainly the apple didn't fall far from the tree there. And George Tochterman, by the way, was the oldest Canal Zone policeman ever. When he finally retired, and so, he'll
Followed
be
closely by Mr. Houston.
correct, absolutely.
Yeah, Captain Houston.
And then the other Canal Zone police officer was Detective Tony DeLuca.
Very close to both you and I.
Yes, I mean we both of us
I can
literally
almost
were
say he's
next door neighbors with
my,
him.
my second father.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
where that comes from, right? Yeah.
100%. This guy was just a fantastic person, and expert sharpshooter. He really was. He was very much a competitive shooter, and he was a gunsmith. He, after the Canal Zone police, he had that, gun store in Panama and everything else. So he,
Idinza.
yes, Tidinza, exactly. That's right. That was a good memory there. Yeah, but
Oh, yeah.
so
Frank and I made bullets all the time. He had the machine at the house. And we made bullets
reloading
night long. Yeah.
That's right, man. That was. I remember that was pretty cool as well. But anyhow, two great Canal Zone police officers. Thank you for serving and
Thank
thank you
you.
for being great Zonians. And then Ricky, you've got a
Yeah,
few
I've
of yours
got
as
one
well.
to celebrate. I've had a very good career my whole life, and this is really to the heart. And the beginning of what I do till today started in 8th grade, and he was my teacher, and he was such a huge part of me in a lot of ways. Mr. Bouzier, thank you very much. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers to all three of them. Great
do a
Zonians.
good job up there. I'm sure you'll be designing some beautiful projects.
Yeah, absolutely. So rest in peace, guys. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and
Celebrate.
and move on this.
Let's celebrate what
we
they
do,
help
absolutely.
build. You know, they help
Absolutely.
protect and they help educate. So we're here
Yep.
to celebrate
No
that,
kidding,
guys.
No kidding. Two people that really two groups that really serve the community, right? Your teachers and your
cops
police.
and
So,
teachers.
right on.
Absolutely.
So,
I
Jim,
mean,
good evening.
Most Zonians will say that the biggest inspiration is either a cop or a teacher.
Yeah.
Where most people would say a lawyer or a politician or a
And you know the percentage of
an athlete, or a doctor, but not in the zone. It's our teachers and our
right.
cops.
And you know what, Ricky? The amount of Zonian friends of ours, peers of ours, that went into law enforcement, it's a high percentage for a community. That if the Canal Zone was a New York City with 5 million people, you're talking hundreds of thousands of cops. I mean, a lot of people went into that profession just because of the impression they got, and certainly a lot went into the teaching profession as well, which. Getting that Canal Zone education and whatnot. So, but Jim, good evening to you. Yes, and guys, prayer for Jim. He's had a stroke recently, and so he's recovering, resting at home. But we'll definitely do something to keep you cheered up, whatever we can. And
we'll keep bringing you the Zonian spirit.
Yeah,
we'll keep
sure.
on zoning for you.
Yes, keep on zoning. That's right. We're going to talk about that here next week. Keep on zoning. There's something interesting going on in the pipeline with that. But Mark, good to see you. Happy Friday to you as well,
Happy Mark.
Mr.
Yeah, right
Panama
on, Mark.
Days, and
Yes,
many
sir.
more Canal Zone tunes and some cool ones on the way. So good evening to see you there, Dave. What's up, man? What do you got planned for next week? Let us know. Throw it in the chat there. We're anxious to see what you got going on there. Remember, guys, next week is July.
Oh, he did mention. Let's see if we remember.
All right, he did mention. What was it?
It'll come.
Yeah, it'll probably come at some point there. But yeah, next week we're going to do our first of the month show. And then after that, we're going to do a best of because it's reunion time. And so it's going to be a little bit difficult to put on a show. So we'll do something there and then come right back the week after. So we're going to take a break, a long deserved break. We haven't had a Friday off in 2 years. So we're going to.
But we still might just pop on and show you what's going on. So
On
just keep
occasion,
an eye
maybe a
on,
pop
put
in there, here and
notifications on, and once our videos
Yes.
pop up, you might, you'll be notified right away.
Yep,
So
that's
that
a great
is
reason
a
to put the
huge
notification on.
possibility.
No kidding.
And that will be totally up to Willie, of course.
Yeah, because I'll be the solo one, the boots on the ground there on that one.
Canal's old Mike, right
Good
on.
to see you. Good to see you as well. Happy Friday to you as well. And Vern, good to see you as well. Vern was mentioning the other night. He mentioned to me a video that he saw from the BBC on the construction of the canal. And said it was pretty good. So Vern, throw the link up there if you want.
Yeah. And Vern, if there's an architectural building that you really like from the Atlantic side, let me
right
know.
on.
Let's do a show together on it. When we do the architectural
Great
once
call,
a month.
man. Yeah, no kidding, man. Yeah, that's true. You remember, guys, Ricky's doing that.
I got all the
architect now,
Pacific
and-
side stuff, but not the Atlantic side.
Right, exactly. That's the one thing, neither one of us really has a lot of Atlantic side experience. So we
bring
rely
on the
you guys
experts.
bring on the experts to do that and take care of that stuff.
El Fulo de Colón.
But yeah, in just a moment, Thane's going to join us as well as Paris after that and do some
My nephew,
World
yes.
Cup Panama stuff and World Cup
A lot
in
of good
general.
stuff. A lot, yeah.
Yeah, there was. I was in Toronto
A lot
last
of
week.
Panamanians in Toronto. I know you were there, so
I flew in
can't
yesterday.
wait to hear about your experience.
It was
and see
it was
some
interesting.
pictures.
It was
videos.
great. It was a great experience. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to be, but
Not
there
gonna
was some
lie.
other
I'm not
things
gonna
that
lie.
I'm
That's
like,
what they say now, Willie. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. But
lie.
but no,
It's been a
that's
great
coming up here after Paris gives us his World Cup synopsis because there's some great. And listen, it is turning out to be a great World Cup. I mean, it is just a. The games they're well matched up. The games that you assume are going to be blowouts are not, right? You expect teams to handily walk over some of these other teams, and it's just not happening. And so it's turning out to be a good overall World Cup, and certainly on the news side, the amount of fans that are just saying, "Man, this place is amazing. These things are great. What's happening?" They're just
Yeah, I know.
they're
That's a
having
good
a really
thing,
fun time, And I mean, I experienced it. There was not one single person that I ran into wearing any shirt of any country that was nothing but friendly and happy to be amongst other soccer fans, promoting their teams. It was nothing but, even after the game, the next day I'm walking by and seeing somebody in a Croatia shirt, and I got a Panama shirt on, and hey, congratulations. Like, hey, you guys played a good game, man. Good luck to you guys in the next World Cup. So it really, it's interesting the different aspects of soccer. the World Cup is, the best thing to compare it to with a major sport here in the U.S. is probably basketball, right? Where you have your NBA teams, but then every so often you have your Olympics. And now you have guys that are playing for France and they're playing for Argentina.
Oh, yeah,
and
those teams are getting much better, too.
Exactly. And so, and that's what you kind of have the similar situation here where these guys are playing club ball and then they get together and play for their country. And so a lot of guys going against each other play for the same club, or vice versa. A lot of guys that play with each other or play against each other in a club all and hate each other, all of a sudden on the same national team, and now they're brothers in arms kind of thing. So it really does bring a whole different game out. But really more than anywhere is with the fans, because fans of club soccer, are tribal, very much so. And anybody for any other club, you don't care for them. In fact, I was walking through Toronto on Wednesday, and this little kid, he was probably 12 years old. He walks up to me and he goes, "Hey man, you got something on your shirt there?" And I happened to be wearing a Manchester United shirt, and I just looked down and he was pointing at the United crest, and he goes, "You got trash on your shirt." He goes, "I'm a Liverpool fan," and he ran back to his dad, and it was just fun. If it had been an adult, I'd been like, I would have said something back, but that's what you do when it comes to your club teams. Whereas when you come to the national teams, it's a whole different mindset. There really is just a sense of, it's all great fun, man, and you appreciate each other. You don't hate on each other, and it's been great, man. I've loved every second of the World Cup, both on TV and then watched it in person. It was awesome. It was really cool. So I would like to see a blueprint of wooden 3-story duplex with the carport under the second story. There you go.
Oh yeah, we're doing a show with Matt Tomlin, and he has he's painted a lot of these homes, so we'll be talking about those homes.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And everything I can get on them.
And then I got to double check and see what he's got going on here. He's joining us, but he might be having some tech issues. I'll double check that here and see on the feed. But if so, we
can always switch him with the soccer segments.
Yeah. Let me see.
And do soccer first and then Thane second.
Yeah, text, but let me see if he got the right numbers. What he was saying there. Yeah, if we got to switch him around, we will. It's not that big a deal, Is Zane invite coming via email or something? Okay. Sorry, yes. Sent via messenger. Sent via barber. That's what the swipe says. Okay, sent via messenger. There you go. Bam. All right, well, let's do our K-Pasa segment, and if he jumps in time, we'll, one way or the other, we can switch gears pretty quickly, and we do have a couple of cool announcements to do anyhow, so.
SCN Television presents K-Pasa. And now here's this evening's host, Army Sergeant Bob Foster.
Good evening and welcome to K-Pasa. We've got two guests tonight. First Sergeant First Class Jim Webb. Sergeant Webb's with the 227th Military Police.
All right, so a couple again. Reunion is right around the corner, right? It seems strange, but it's 2 weekends away now. Absolutely, So at this point, you should have your plans set up, and if not, you better, at the very least, join the society. Even if you decide to go and piggyback off somebody, which is fine, but join the society. At least spend the $60,
$60, man, for sure.
And if nothing else, you'll be able to drink for free on Saturday afternoon at the pool. Yeah. Drink beer for free. So,
well, Willie, announcement-wise, you know what happened today in history in Panama?
Do tell.
10 years ago is when the first rock, I guess, started exploding for the construction of the third set of locks. So it's like an 10-year anniversary. It was actually on the 26th, which is today. 10-year anniversary today.
Interesting.
Since the beginning. That came from Pablo Prieto, who sent us a link here real early today. Thank you, Pablo, for that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was, and I mean, think of what that's done, especially with the size of the ships out there now. That it just, Panama had reached a point where they realized, hey, we're pushing away a whole lot of business just simply because they can't fit. This thing's 100 years old. And so they
and to prove to the world that they can both finance it, build it, and run it, and they've done a great job there as well.
Indeed they have. So congrats, guys, on that anniversary, man.
And Willie, you know what else? How we always we're always researching to get information on Panama, right? Plus we've got some pretty good guys in certain places that give us intel before the news comes out. And I got a good one tonight, Willie, before Thane comes on. But right now, there's this one guy out there. His name is Amilcar Gotti, like the mafioso from New York.
Okay.
And he is a writer, right? And he's putting together this novela, hopefully it's a movie,
Okay.
which is called which is based on the secrets of the Masonics in Panama,
Oh, right on.
called Los Secretos del Acta, or the Secrets of the Act. Now, a lot of the Zonians, we know the Masons have been there, right?
Sure.
And we know it's
Sure, the
like a Zonian story with Abu Saad and the cool jeeps. But check this out, Willie. Through David, we've learned about all the early Panama juntas revolucionaria that started the country.
Right.
And amongst the top guy was this guy named Agustin Arango. We've all talked about him.
Right.
He was a Mason. Belisario Porras, another of the biggest presidents of Panama,
Yeah.
He was a Mason. And as well as other of the newer presidents. But all I'm saying is that the Masonic Temple has been part of Panama since day one.
Yeah, no kidding. Man.
So it's interesting. I'm going to keep an eye on that and inform you guys about that. And then as well, check this out, Willie. One of the highest Masons is the guy, Cecil Haynes, Zonian. Well, they call him Cecil, but I'm sure it's Cecil.
Yeah, in Cecil in English it'd be Cecil.
Cecil,
Yes.
correct. Longest tenured Zonian, by the way, canal worker. 70 years
Wow.
working in the 70 years working in the canal zone. So he's an older guy. So anyways, they're doing this thing on him about the Masonic Temple. So something we got to keep an eye on, Willie, because it's truly, we don't really talk about that, and it's true unless we talk about the parades, but we don't really talk about like those architectural buildings. Remember how they were, the temple?
Right.
Abu Saad was no joke. They were huge down there.
And remember they sponsored the Shrine Bowl.
They sponsored the Shrine Bowl.
Hence the name, the Shrine Bowl.
And the burn hospital. So we'll keep an eye on that, and I hope this novel does really great. It's an interesting topic, I would say.
Yeah. That's very interesting. And I remember, like you said, they had the little mini cars running around doing
the wheelies. Those guys are cool.
Man,
and they still do that in Panama, by the way. There's
really,
on their different parades, they got those Jeeps doing wheelies and stuff.
Well, that was one of the things that, like you mentioned the other day when you started talking a little bit, and you started brushing on a little bit in the architecture segment about places like the church, like St. Mary's Church. That upstairs was where they had, at the time they called them the secret societies, right? And there were all these clubs and organizations that, these were a big deal. And really, in the early canal construction time, the reason they were such a big deal is because you were really limited on resources and funds. And, you break your leg in two places working in Culebra Cut, and you don't have like 8 weeks of vacation and sick pay and all that stuff. And so a lot of times, if you were part of one of these lodges, these groups, they took care of you. And so people gravitated a lot to these things. And they were really a big integral part of the Canal Zone history from day one, man.
Yeah.
By
I'm interested
necessity.
to find out more about them,
Yeah,
these
man.
secret groups.
That's really cool.
And I see that Thane's in. So before we check out, I just want to point out that our very great guest who's always with us, Nodier. This time I said it correct, and I apologize for calling him Nodiel. It's Nodi.
I've only tried to correct
Nodier.
it like a dozen times, but when Ricky gets on his roll, he's like, I'm not listening, dude. I'm going.
Yeah, well, he's like, he is becoming big now in Panama. He was on Radio Ancon, talking about the train station. And also, what I like, Willie, recently, I don't know if it was on the chat group or here on the podcast, but we talked about the kiosk at the train station, the Balboa train station.
Correct.
And how it was such a huge part of our, the Canal Zone community, especially the Balboa kids, right?
Correct.
Well, he did a piece on that kiosk.
Sure did.
Remember, it was like Octagon?
Yeah.
And it was run by a family called last name Oyers. I've heard of
The
that.
Oyers. Melvin Oyer was a police officer.
Yes, they ran it.
Yes.
A Spanish guy from Barcelona got the.
Well,
he came down here to find opportunities like many Spaniards did during the canal construction days, but he got the gig to run that kiosk.
Yeah,
And
he Nordier reached out to me a few weeks ago and had asked about that, and I said, reach out to Melvin Oyer. His dad was one of them that ran the
shit.
kiosk
No wonder it's
there.
on. Well, great piece, man.
And,
It's on this.
well, are you talking about the video?
I
put out a
follow
video
him on
today.
Instagram, and
Okay,
that's
so
where I
today
got
he
this.
put a video on Facebook. He put a video about it. Really well done. It's
Oh, really? I
basically
don't have
pictures and
Facebook.
stuff,
So
but-
everybody on Facebook, go check it out. This guy Noriel is.
Well,
I don't
it
mean
was-
it in a
and
bad
the-
way because he's always here and he's awesome, man. We give him on our show
Right.
like 2 or 3 times now, but he's
did,
the
and
man. He's getting up there, man. I hope he gets that gig of running that museum.
He should.
And by the
He-
way,
he's-
we're also doing a study on this museum here with our chat group, guys. The chances of that train station making it are every day less.
yeah, it's a tough break, but
It's a tough break, man.
Going back to Nordier, it's on Facebook. He posted it this morning. It's a great video, and I don't know if I went ahead and translated it for him, with AI, so it would take. I took his voice and did it in English, and so he's got an English version of it as well. But it is a great video because the Oyers, they bought it. They were working. They actually went to BHS. Dad came down and was working he started out playing the violin at the train station and became a barber and started cutting hair. And they called him the barber of the governors because he would cut all the governor's hair and everybody. And he's,
Really? I never got my hair cut down but
well,
I
but
hope that was
that
my dad
changed a lot
made us
back
get
then.
us our haircut.
You know where I'd get my haircuts is at Gorgas Hospital. They had the barber over there.
Yeah, no,
That's where
my
my
dad
dad
was
would
not
take
into the long hair, man.
But anyway, the
Calle
Oyer-
Jota, man, crew cut.
Okay. Anyway, so the Oyers actually went to BHS, and when they got done, one of them worked for Motor Transportation, but they continued running the newsstand, and then when the guy who ran the Star and Herald is the one that ran the newsstand. He's like, I'm done with this, and that's when Mr. Oyer, the dad, the one that came from Spain, he bought it. And that's how they got into that business, and it was really cool because great history. We played for Balboa Rams. You saw one of the 2 Oyer brothers there working in that newsstand when we were there.
Right, or Mr. Oyer. I remember more Mr. Oyer.
Well,
so for the Balboa kids, Willie, we had 2 magazine stands. We had the commissary, right, where we would get like the better magazines, and then we had the train station where we had the Mad magazines. We can go there and read the Mad magazine. That's what I remember most.
And that's what he says in the article that Mr. Oyer was telling him that in one of his interviews. He said, the kids would come here, before practice, before baseball or football, and they would buy gum and a soda or whatever. And I would just let him read the magazines. It didn't matter. It's not like he would give you a hard time because they were really very nice
Only
guys.
the Playboys. If you grab the Playboys, you're like, hey, put that back.
yeah, of course. Yeah, he didn't want Canals and police to shut him down, man.
Yeah. But it was the Mad magazine. Yeah,
it was. But it was great. It was a really good story. And Nordier, congratulations. You really are hitting some home runs with this Panama.
We appreciate it, Nordier, man. Right on.
Zonians do love what you're doing there. So keep it up. Keep up the good work for sure, dude. For sure. But let's talk to a few other people and then bring Thane on here because we got some interesting things to talk about here when it comes to this whole Canal Zone documentary, and more importantly, some of the pieces that are going to help build it. In particular that Substack, which moving forward is going to be the sponsor of our K-Pasa segment. It's going to be brought to you by the Canal Zone documentary Substack. So we're going to learn what that's all about because I myself
Zonian ads. Right on.
Well, and I consider myself fairly tech savvy, but that's one of those that I haven't really wrapped my head around is the whole Substack and the concept and how it works. So Thane's going to explain that to us and show us what that's.
What? Me too, man. I don't get it either.
But from what he was telling me last night, it actually looks like a great resource in order to get that stuff going on. Relief, good to see you, brother. Happy Friday to you, hermano. Hope you're doing well.
Willie, does your nose itch when you do this podcast? I swear to God, my nose always itches when I do a podcast. Never. The rest of the week, nunca me toca la nariz. Do the podcast?
It must be nerves or something. I don't know. That's interesting. No, I can't say it has, man. But I work with Tony every Saturday selling ositos. Yes. What was the difference between ositos and pepitos?
One was like a box, and the other one was a wrapper.
Well, that's true, but there was one difference in the 2 gums. But yes, you're right. One of them was
I remember one was Pascual.
Well, one of them was hard candy and had the gum inside, osito.
That's right.
Where pepito was just pure gum. But you're right, it was square shaped. It was like a cube shape or something. But yeah, look at adult education. Yeah, we didn't. He didn't let us participate in that, though. But Best barber shop in Balboa. But yes, by the post office. Yes, he did. Remember the guy that had the perfect flat top and the beard with the dark hair? He cut hair. He cut hair. And the other guy was the older guy that had the long
At the clubhouse. At
sideburns
the clubhouse.
across the street. On that office that was across the street, there was, if you're coming out of the post office, clubhouse is to your left. There was that at the beginning of El Prado. That was where that up on the second story was where that's where I went to that guy shop. Yeah, he was good. He was good. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get started here and get our friend Thane Wheeler on the line here. And while I do that, let me get this
man.
On the screen. There it is. Okay, perfect. Because I wanted to make sure that we showing that here. But anyway, Thane, happy Friday to you, man. All the way from Idaho. Is that where you're at in Idaho?
No, I'm in Utah.
Utah.
How you guys doing?
Really nice. Yeah, I've been
even a little
beautiful.
further, right? Right on. Not quite as cold either, I would imagine. But
no, it's not as cold as Idaho. It's a lot more windy and cold up there. So
yeah, weren't you in Idaho at one point though?
Yeah, my father was from Idaho.
Oh, right on.
I've lived up there a little bit on and off, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like half of California's moving there.
Well.
Yeah. California's moving all over here in Utah and up in Idaho as well.
And Idaho as well. Right.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
Funny. Yeah. So anyway, guys, this is Thane Wheeler, guys. He is the producer of the Canal Zone documentary. He's been working on that, working his butt off for several years. He does put out a lot of great content, and in his gathering of content, he shares a lot of cool stuff. And part of what makes all this whole Canal Zone social media community cool is that you see things that a lot of times just an image is enough to get your tail wagging. You're like, oh, that's cool, man. I remember that, and it's the thing about it though is that, the memories are fading, right? And as we saw earlier tonight, the people are fading as well. And so it's critical that we have this mechanism in place to be able to capture this stuff. We're doing our part here on the show, but here's somebody that's taking this to a professional level, right? That's somebody that's a producer of films and knows what he's doing. He's educated in that realm. He's not a YouTube learned person. He's actually does this for a living. And so, tell us how this whole documentary thing started, and for those that didn't see you when you joined us before, your background in the Canal Zone and how that got started.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, I moved to Panama in '81. I was like 11 years old, and started out there at Balboa Elementary. Mr. Green's class in 1981, and then continued all the way through Balboa High School, and was about to go into my senior year, and we had to leave in '88. So left there, right before the end of it. No matter. I tried to like talk my parents and let me stay just one more year, just one more,
Right.
So
especially at that age,
anyhow,
when in that high school age is tough to, it's an age
is,
you kind of form yourself, you kind of find yourself, and the people around you that influence you, those memories stick around, right? And it's that's a bummer, dude.
Exactly. And it's, plus it's just tough to have to leave right before your senior year. I've heard several other people say the same thing. And you go to some other place, and we went all the way upstate New York, so just south of Canada. So it's from the Isthmus to Canada, pretty much almost, Now
let me ask you this. So you went to upstate New York. Was that because there's some military facilities up in upstate New York, correct?
Fort Drum, yep.
That's what I thought. Okay, so
that's where,
were there a lot of military people at those schools there then? And was there anybody that you'd seen before somewhere?
There was, Fort Drum was just ginormous. It was huge, huge base. But the school that we went to is just a small little high school. So I don't know exactly how they had it all divided up, but I went to Carthage High School.
Okay.
For my last year. So, yep.
Right.
So yeah, there were several military there, but it's fairly new base. It was everything was new, and
sure,
you don't really know who is who.
Right. And then how'd you get into the whole documentary business?
Well, I've worked in film for many years. I have a degree in film directing from Art Center in Pasadena. I actually ended up working because I also have a bachelor's in illustration and entertainment. Um, and I ended up actually working as a production designer or art director in films, primarily narrative films, you know. So
Right.
did a bunch of those. I did a few documentaries as well. And so, and there's a big difference between doing like a narrative film versus a documentary. A narrative, when you've got a script, you know, and
Right.
so you could just kind of follow the script, you know, you've got X amount of minutes, or, you know, per scene, or, you know
You
that
can control it a lot
how
better.
it's going to end. Yeah. And a documentary, there is no script,
Right.
you know, so you make a plan what you're going to do and what you want to do. But as you're interviewing people, that can change your
Mhm.
direction, your course.
Certainly.
Like, oh, I cover that. You know what I mean? So it's a different, it's a different creature altogether. And so I feel a lot more comfortable with it doing a narrative because I know where I'm going with it. You know,
Sure.
I know from the beginning to the end, I know how it's going to turn out. In a documentary, you know, you have all these ideas,
Right.
you know, but exactly how is it going to turn out in the end? That's a different story.
A lot more fluid.
And how about like a
that's
like a
how that
starting
works out.
point? You know, like how do you get a documentary from first gear, like from neutral to first gear? What's going to be the part that's going to grab us? Have you
Well,
thought of that?
the whole thing really starters for starters, the thing that's important to when doing a documentary or almost anything, you've got to narrow your scope down. So so the focus of this documentary is on the community. It's not on the building of the canal. It's not on any of that stuff, even though some of that plays into it. You have to, that's some of the context that goes into
Of course.
the documentary.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's about the community. It's about the different towns and the bases and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Like a parade, like the beginning
and
would be like a
so,
Canal Zone
again, like,
parade
you
going
kind of-
down
you have
Balboa
to be
Avenue.
Yeah, it would be it'd be the schools, it'd be all the different stuff. But again, you kind of have a general idea, and you have to be flexible. You have to be fluid to go where the story is going to lead you.
Sure.
And as you interview people, you'll be like, oh, actually a really good point. I should go down and check that out too. And so you're going to end up filming probably more than what you need, and then when you're in the cutting room, you're going to have to say, okay, this has got to go, this has got to go,
Right.
even
Yeah.
though it's great. There's only so many minutes you can put in it. You know,
that
Certainly.
makes a lot of sense. Thing like the topics that are becoming popular about the canal and the canal experience are things like bunkers. You know, that's like, so all of a sudden this guy's
Yeah,
talking about
I've seen
bunkers,
it.
and all that sudden everybody wants to talk about bunkers. With none of us even talking about bunkers.
Right.
And another one is, I mean, there's several out. Oh, like the Masonic temples. You know, we've always known they were there, but
Uh-huh.
so it could be that's what Thane's talking about. It's like, you don't know where it's going to go. You know, all of a sudden someone's going to say, you know, I ate this fruit from a tree in Gamboa. What? What fruit was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I get it,
and
I
it's
get
just- And then you're also looking at the different eras too, right? You know, what they were doing in the 1920s isn't necessarily the same things they're doing in the 1960s or 1980s.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about
know?
that because that obviously, you know, the ages and as we've, you know, been doing this now for, you know, 2 years of a lot of history and whatnot, that the canal zone changed quite a few times, right? And even the whole Balboa area radically
Yes.
changed. And so, you know, you are looking at a different era and a different
Yes.
lifestyle, a different likes and things that they did and hung out. So let me ask you this. So far in your gatherings of information and everything, who is the oldest person you've interviewed or talked to that has a story that a lot of us probably are like, I don't even recall any of that stuff?
You know, it was interesting. I haven't interviewed anyone just as of yet. I have talked to several different people.
But who's even like
There
reached
was-
out and
sorry,
said,
it's
hey,
been
you
a
know, I'm
little while
available?
Someone had shared a video of their mother or the grandmother. I think that was either she was born there
Wow.
or had moved down there about 1909.
Wow, that's still
you know,
construction time.
and he was just, yeah, and I think there was another guy that actually had some video of his grandmother talking about different things in the, I think it was 1920s or 30s.
Interesting.
So you know, I'll get a lot of information, or some people will contact me either like just today. I just noticed I have some emails. I was like, oh gosh, I gotta look into that.
Sure.
So I get information from coming left and right, and you know,
Right.
you get here, and so it's hard to
And Lee's
anything
asking
to
if
keep
your
it all
sister is
straight,
Jenna
you know.
Wheeler.
It's Jenna Wheeler. No, I have a Shireen Wheeler. Is my sister.
There you go. So sorry, Leaf.
Yeah,
Wrong one.
but I think, you know, because I know you guys done a lot of research, and when you're doing the research on the Canal Zone, it's not in one place. The information is just
100%.
you have a piece over here and a piece over
yeah.
there.
And
AI has
and
helped a lot
and,
with that.
You know, all have yeah, and it's the same thing with the Zonians as well. When trying to talk, you get a story from over here, a story from over there, and it's just, you know, you're like, okay, how am I piecing this all together, and how am I collecting this?
Absolutely, and take the guy that's
Go ahead.
that's on the screen now commenting. You know, know the air.
Know the air,
You know,
right.
we were just mentioning him earlier. How he just put out this great video today about the Balboa train station and the Oyer family, and you know, we've learned a lot about the Panama Railroad from him. You know, who's Panamanian, but his parents worked on Barro Colorado Island, and you know, commuted on the train, and so he had this, you know, affinity for the train since a very young age, and he's turned that into a really great hobby, and it seems like it's getting a lot of traction. Which, congratulations on that, Norier. But you know, that's kind of what you're you know alluding to, is that the information, you never know where it's coming from. You assume that it's coming from strictly a Zonian sometimes, and it may not. It may come from this source or whatever, but it's out there, and you really got to keep your eyes and ears open and see who's talking about what, and then, you know, pull it in, I guess.
That's what I love most about this show, Willie, is that part, the research part.
I mean, it's and like I said, you're getting little pieces here and little pieces there, and these two might fit together, and this one doesn't. And you're like, okay, you know, it's interesting, but you know, and what you have, what your perceptions are in the beginning versus after doing research and after talking to people, you're like, okay, there's a lot more to this story than I realized, you know.
Yeah.
So,
no, indeed.
I mean, a perfect example is the whole music thing. Fred and I talked about before, you know, and I thought, okay, I'm curious, let's put this out there, and then all of a sudden, everyone just was hitting it hard. I'm like, wow, there was a real cultural thing going on there with music. That,
I know. We got lucky.
I didn't.
Sorry. I was going to say, we got lucky, Thane, and maybe perhaps you should consider interviewing him or reaching out to him, as James Slater.
Well, we were talking about that last night.
He is one of the sounds of the zone that a lot of people can identify with.
Yeah, I'm almost done with his video. I've got one last part that I just can't get it right. But
and part of the research, I'm gonna throw this out there, William. We haven't really completed the show of the music show, is the Hart sisters, guys. The Hart sisters grew up in
Coakley.
Yeah,
they sure did. Sure did. Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a lot of components to, and you know, music is one of those things, you know, especially, you know, for Zonians growing up, you know, living in the zone, those late teen, early 20s, you know, that age for Zonians was an awesome world to live in. In the 70s and 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, being a Zonian, between the ages of 18 and 24, 25 was probably pretty freaking awesome, man. You know, compared to what somebody that age group in the States, in Europe, or anywhere else, living in the zone, it was really a really unique place. Yeah. And then you combine that with just the fact that at that age, music plays a big part in people's lives, right? You know, a lot of us, that's where we really get into our rock and roll or whatever music we love to hear. The bands that we, you know, to this day, you love to hear that music. It's 40 years old, 50 years old now, but you connected with those. And that's why, to me, music, you know, when this started bouncing around, this whole Canal Zone rock topic, you're right. Anytime somebody posts something on it, I mean, just something as simple as, hey, what song did you like when you graduated? Dude, you'll get within an hour 100 responses.
Yeah, Willie. What
You
I
know?
noticed too on one of your posts was you put who remembers their bands, and one of Pablo Prieto put down about 30.
Yes, he did.
He remembered all of them, you know. So
It
yes,
did,
that does
man.
bring music does bring out that nostalgia in all of us.
It's one of those connecting pieces.
I had no idea. I had
Yeah,
no
there you go.
idea
Right on.
how many
That
groups
definitely needs to be in the
was great.
documentary.
Well, and that's a piece that also,
Yeah.
Mark Cicero that's chiming in here, he's obviously does a lot with
Yes.
music as well, and creating music and now working on videos and stuff. But he's been asking for, some photos on some other things that he's working on for another video. But he's also helping out with kind of putting together this database of rock and roll and stuff. So this is actually a great segue to talk about what we have on the screen and kind of piggyback off of that database, and you can explain it further. But the one piece, guys, that we're talking about that moving forward is going to be sponsoring our K-Pasa, because I kind of feel like they go hand in hand anyway, is this Canal Zone documentary Substack. Okay? Now, here, Substack, and we're thinking all CIA and electronics and whatever else. What is a Substack? And tell us what that is and why you're doing this.
It is okay. Well, for starters, it's more like a newsletter. I use it for several different reasons. One, I use it for whatever I'm studying. I can kind of put that together and then share it with the community and see what they think and what they say. Because I might be missing something. Just like we were talking about before, there's not one place that has all the information. Everyone just has little pieces here and there, and you've got to search everywhere. So I put it on there. That's one of the things.
Now, let me ask you a question about the
newsletter.
Substack. So
Yeah.
you put it on there, and it's like a newsletter. Is it a two-way communication on the Substack, or is it one way?
No, you can. It has a chat capability, so you can comment on there. So you can do that. Now you can go onto Substack through your computer on your phone, or you can just receive it in your email.
What do you do, like
So
Substack.com? How do you get to Substack?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, really?
and if you just look up
Substack.com. Okay, cool.
Substack.com, it'll take you right there. And you'll see it looks like a newsletter. I mean, I usually have a header photo on there and then a body of text, of whatever I'm talking about on that particular thing. So that's how that works out. And I'm also using it as
And again, I'm sorry, real quick. What's the URL again?
It's Canal Zone Documentary.substack.com. So that's how you get on there, and it's so easy to join. And I'm trying to get all the Zonians as I can to get on there because it's also a metric for me. So what I want to do is when I get to a certain point here, I'm getting close, that I want to be able to go and talk to a studio or investors because it's going to cost some money to make this film. It's not cheap. And so one thing that investors like to know is same as a studio, just like any investor, they're like, well, what's my return? How do I know that this is going to work? And I can go, well, here's an audience, and if that audience has got a significant amount of people on there, that becomes an asset, if that makes sense,
Oh, yeah.
So
that's how
one of the
the film
components
works.
then is to gauge interest of a potential audience.
Yeah.
I bet YouTube's got to have a measurement of how many people go to, Canal Zone or Panama Canal information or sites, pages.
It's like he fell off for just a moment there, but yeah, we were talking about this last night, and like he says, it makes sense. When you're putting out a documentary, of this nature, you're looking for investors, people that are gonna, or a studio that's gonna, put it together for you or push it out there, and they're looking to see what are the signs. Dude, I promise you, man, it's gonna be awesome. They're gonna love it. That's not a commitment there, right? But they start seeing something where a place like this, where people become members, right? And the Substack does have different levels of participation, from a free participation up through paid participation levels and stuff. But all of those things, after a while, these places like a studio or an investor will look at it and go, there's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of people have a lot of interest in this subject matter. Yeah, maybe it's worthwhile to put that money up there. Right. Thane, welcome back. We missed you, man.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, sorry, it kicked me off somehow.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, exactly. It gives them the proof that there's an audience, that there's an interest.
Right.
You know, just to give you kind of an example, like when they work on a movie and they get an actor, every actor has a number associated to them. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes.
they
yes.
know if they get Tom Cruise, X amount of people are going to show up. So
Right.
then the people who are going to invest it, which are usually generally studios, they will say, okay, well, we know that because it's Tom Cruise, we should get X amount of money in return. It's a business. You
Sure,
know?
of course.
And so it's the same thing with a documentary or anything else. They want to know, like, okay, if we put money into this Canal Zone documentary thing, are we going to get a return on this? Or we're going to get
Yeah.
our money back?
Is
or
somebody
not,
going to want to buy
you
this
know?
and pay to watch it?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And
sure.
and
Makes
so
sense.
so showing them, hey, look at this audience. I've got the Zonians that want to see this, and there's also historian buffs. There's also Panamanians who are going to be very interested in this.
Certainly.
And it becomes the proof of concept.
Right. And that's just one component of what this Substack will do. The other component, like Thane was telling me
Yes.
last night, is that it's a great place to aggregate information, right? And you can start even seeing, like you said, maybe seeing patterns of where there's a story that's of a lot of interest, where another story that's, okay, nobody really gives a shit about this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, and it's not social media. That's the other thing. There's no algorithm, there's no feed, there's none of that stuff. It's more like a newsletter, or and you know, you just get on there and read whatever article you want to read. It's always will be there. You have to go searching for it or anything like that. It's right there.
But the beauty of the
bigger-
ability to comment on it means that you can build into that and gather more information. If you post an article on the banyan tree, you know, and then all of a sudden people start throwing some stuff, and I remember this and I remember that, and my grandfather told me this. Now that enhances the story
Right.
and helps you to build, you know, for that information gathering.
Yeah, and we did have some beautiful banyan trees in the
Yeah, we
Canal
did.
Zone.
We did. We did. You were going to ask something, Ricky. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I think exactly what you said. So
Okay, right on. So let's go over this Substack a little bit real quick to see what we're looking at here.
Sure.
You know, and again, on the cover, as you see there, it says Canal Zone documentary. It's got home, notes, chat, archive. So notes, I guess, is where you keep notes on the documentary and other people that are participating. I see Dave Dahlstrom's in there.
Yep.
And so now, is he a separate Substack that you guys are collaborating, or is he part of yours, or? Okay, I think we lost him there again.
I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulty or something.
No, you're good. You're good.
that's okay.
Oh.
But I think we could hear you on the show, or no?
Yeah, listen, if video becomes challenging because of the buffering, you know, turn the camera off and just go to audio. All right, well, he's off for sure now, but as soon as he pops in, I'll remind him that. Okay, so there, and here's the chat area where you have to join. I didn't sign in here. I just pulled it up real quick. But when you join there, which I am joined, you're able to participate in the chats and share information there. The archives here show previous Substacks, because one of the things that he's going to want to do, and this is where we're going to participate with him, is every week he wants to put out an article. Sorry, Thane. I was just kind of going over some of the stuff you have here, like the stuff that you have archived on here. And by the way, if the video is causing buffering issues, if you turn your camera off and you can just be on audio, it works. You know, it'll certainly improve the buffering there, and that's fine as well. So just keep that in mind. But what I was getting at was that, you know, you can archive things and look at things in there and continue to share and talk about them. But what we were going to, you know, talking about last night, doing, you know, on a weekly basis, you know, when we do our K-Pasa, and it's brought to you by Substack. And this week's Substack article is, and we'll mention and talk about the article to get people interested and start talking about it, and maybe go into the Substack and saying, hey, you know what? Actually, my uncle did that. Let me go and share his story. And then, you know, join the Substack. Again, you don't have to pay to join it. You can if you want to help, because it obviously helps the cause. But there is the free version where you can still participate and you can still enjoy all the information. And, you know, even if it's not a story you have, if you know somebody that did it, turn them onto it, or turn them onto things, so that we can get a hold of these people and start, you know, gathering these stories to get this, you know, to get this moving forward, you know, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, Willie. So the bigger that number gets, the closer we get to our documentary.
Yes.
Right. Right. So now, Thane, what are kind of give us kind of the
Exactly.
steps of where documentaries, how they go from start to finish, and where more or less in that journey we're at right now with the documentary. Or
A lot with documentaries, of course, is just the whole research phase, which is what you guys are kind of doing as well. I'm doing exactly the same thing, researching it.
It's just the time, Willie. It's just the busiest time of the whole week for the internet.
I'm mistaken too. I think he had mentioned that to me once before, which
I actually changed. I'm now with Sonic, so I'm trying out the new. What Sonic is the fiber optic.
Oh, good. Well, that should make a big
so
difference.
far so good. Hasn't kicked me out.
100%. That should be a lot better.
So good.
Right on. So anyhow, guys, keep this in mind, guys. And there's the address on there. It's canalzonedocumentary.substack.com. A lot of great information on there. There, he's back again. So
sorry.
no, you're good, brother.
It's all good.
It's a great place to gather information. And if you don't have something to share, but somebody else that might, share this address with them and tell them, hey, go to this canalzonedocumentary.substack.com. Join it and share your information, share your story, connect with Thane, and it's so what we were asking before you fell off here was kind of give us that brief description of a documentary start to finish, and then kind of where the Canal Zone documentary is currently at in that journey.
Good question, Willie.
So it's research, and then I need to I got to create what's called a pitch deck, and that's where it's a visual on how you're going to do the story. And then I'll be pitching it to studios or investors, and so that they have a good idea of what to expect. And then it's also gathering in who am I going to interview, and where are they at, and so it'll start with that, and then it'll be into pulling together a crew, and then going out there and shooting all that stuff.
Because you're building
so
the whole thing.
That's how it goes, and then it goes into the post work, which then,
No, I said you. So you build the whole crew. You bring in your camera people, your sound people, everything that you're going to do to. I mean, you're building the entire thing. It's like you're building the entire house.
Yes. And I've already know the people because I work with them. I work with filmmakers, I work with cinematographers and sound guys and all of that stuff. So I already know the people. It's just a matter of getting this pitched, to so I can get the support to actually do this.
Of course.
Because it's pricey.
Yeah. Oh, of course. No, absolutely. But
this is that's how it'll go. And then eventually, hopefully, my goal is. Yes. And then what I hope to do is that we'll probably get it out on Prime or Hulu and all that sort of stuff. And maybe in some select.
Interesting. Yeah, no, that would be awesome, and part of that is, of course, in that instance, and the Zonian community is really good at this, when it comes to spreading the word on something and putting stuff out there, we get to that point where he needs to get numbers out there. The Zonian army will mobilize.
Absolutely, but one thing Panama's now having on a yearly basis is film festivals.
Yeah, certainly. Absolutely.
So that'd be a good opportunity.
Well, and kind of like what you've mentioned in the past also, that the Panamanian government now mandates, canals on education.
History. The U.S.-Panama relation.
Right. And so, there's this is right in that realm there. And so it makes sense. And who knows, maybe there's opportunities there to get it, somebody down in Panama to maybe be able to pony up some of that money for it all. But all in all, from chatting with him last night, and sorry for the connection issues, guys, but he's in that gathering information part, and though sometimes it may seem random, he's got a method to his madness, and these are the things that he's gathering. He's really just kind of randomly hearing stories to see which ones, like he said, which ones really get traction.
Which is the ones going to get traction,
talk about. You know, you mentioned the slide. All of a sudden, people start talking about the slide, right? You know, there's certain things
topic.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and there's footage out there thanks to Bud Tristano and these guys. So, you know, that's where he's at now. But let's help him get that next step in the journey by, first of all, starting on that Substack and sharing, reading the stuff that he has there, share it with others. And if you know somebody in one of those stories that could help out, that have some firsthand knowledge of one of those topics, turn them on to Thane and onto the Substack so they can get involved and get it to that point where he's like, hey, you know what? I've got a story here now. I've got something that we can run with, because, you know, the story is there. It's just there's several of them. You know, we just got to figure out which one he wants.
Yeah, I got a story for you before we move on to our next segment.
Yeah.
Let's then wrap this up with the good boaching news, because, you know, we pride ourselves, Willie, with trying to get information before it goes out on the news.
Yeah,
sometimes we're a week ahead of everybody. Well, I've got one. Because, you know, I've got my people planted in Panama in different places. Last week, we talked about this prison break. Remember that, Willie?
Okay.
196 people escaped, and we thought, oh, my God, well, a little inside intel, we'll find out that, first of all the leaders of the penitentiary got fired, every single one of them. The reason why there was 196 people that escaped, Willie, because they were protecting 3 big names.
Wow.
So that's why they had so many go, because the 193 of them were really low security, that they just added, 5 years to their terms for being idiots.
Stupid.
For being stupid, but it was to allow 3 guys to escape.
So that was a big distraction.
That was the big distraction.
Wow.
So they just fired all the people in charge of penitentiaries.
Well,
so that's going to be coming out pretty soon on the news of
good,
that prison break. Yeah, but you know what? This is going on throughout Central America. The Costa Rican president just fired 7 of her top.
There's a lot of judicial reform and social reform.
Her top, security people. What she did was that she hired a polygraph company, internationally known, recognized. She went up to all the people in security, and some of the questions were, "Have you taken drug money?"
That's simple.
7 guys failed the
it.
polygraph. Boom, out they went, man. Well, anyways, that's it on Bochincha. As you guys will be seeing soon that about these 3 heavies.
Heck yeah. That's fantastic, man.
Was the reason why that breakup was so big. All right, let's get going to my nephew.
No, that definitely. Let's move on and let's say hello to a couple of people here. So I'm reading some chats here, and this is a kind of interesting one. It's a 2-part chat here. So I met a Zonian today in Sarasota, Jeff Morgan. Definitely know Jeff Morgan.
Oh, I know Jeff Morgan.
Yeah, class of '84. He said he knows you
big
guys.
Time
Absolutely.
executive.
And his sister, Kim Morgan, is a very dear friend of mine since
And my
nursery
brother.
school, class of '86. Yeah. In fact, our nursery school was across the street from your house, Ricky.
Yeah,
That was
Mrs.
the
Sullivan,
nursery-
O'Sullivan.
Yes, that's right, Mrs. O'Sullivan. Yeah. But anyway, so met Jeff Morgan there playing pickleball. He heard my wife talking about making arroz con pollo, and he said he went to Balboa. Ah, there you go. That's the Zonians. So Mozart, if you don't mind me asking, what? I guess you're a statesider, but is your wife, I guess, from Panama or from the Canal Zone? Because that'd be kind of interesting to see.
We've seen
cool
Mozart
story,
several times, and we've just like, that's
Okay.
awesome. Who he, tell us more about you, Mr. Mozart,
Right
because we
on.
love
And
that. In fact, you're always here
subscribed.
with us.
Excellent.
Thank you
so
so
for
much
doing
for
that.
that.
And make sure you spread it amongst the Atlantic siders as well, because there again, Thane lived on the Pacific side in Corey Heights, right? So, if our Atlantic side knowledge is limited, his is very limited, right?
Yeah.
So,
Corey Heights were like the elite kids, because those were all the generals and the lieutenant colonels and
spies.
colonels up there.
yeah, all the intelligence and stuff was up there, man. But that was and that that's the one base where I of all the bases in the general vicinity on Pacific side, probably Corey Heights was the one that I spent the least amount of time. I went to a couple of movies there. That was about it. I really didn't.
Yeah,
I don't.
you never went to the where they always had the parties, the officers club.
No, not in Corey Heights. I never did that.
But you know what? The Canal Zone teachers,
Mm-hmm.
if you were a teacher, you had like a middle. I think when DODDS took over, you had a military rank. So all the teachers ranked like officers, so they can go. 'Cause my mom had an account there. We always went there. That you can go to that. Those
They
officers.
did. That's right. They sure did, because they came in as because it was DODDS.
I mean, most of them got their masters and their PhDs. All our teachers.
She's
The vast majority of them, yeah.
Right on. Cool. Well, tell her hello. Yes.
Yes.
Arroz con pollo, that's a classic, no doubt, man. If
No doubt.
you're talking arroz con pollo, you'll definitely get Zonians coming out of the
we need to
woodwork
get
for that.
somebody on to teach us how to do a good arroz con pollo. Because I've tried it, and it's gringo con pollo, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's an art to it, man. There's an art to
Yeah,
it.
there's
there,
an art
and
to
we got to
it.
figure out if Jason Cretides can do it, and if so, we'll
Peaches, yeah.
we'll get
or
him.
anybody,
to do
put up their
segment.
recipes, man. We'll put it up.
Yeah,
We'll-
you know who could do it is Brenda Furlong, Ralphie's mom.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. She's a great cook. She can make.
All right, man. Let's
I
roll.
remember
before we
going to
lose
her
my
place.
nephew's.
I think he stepped away for just a moment here. So as soon
All
as
right.
he-
We'll keep an eye on when he comes back.
There
There he
he
is. All right,
Yeah.
Paris.
Well, we're
let's
gonna
get
pay
going,
some
man.
bills here, but let's go ahead and get some bills paid and get Paris on you because there
Absolutely.
is some World Cup stuff going on there, and I'm chomping at the bit to tell you my World Cup adventure as well. So, but here we go,
Yes.
guys.
Where can I find El Fulo?
He's out there catch waves. Hey, Fulo! Fulo! Oh yeah, I know food. I'm a Steel Chef winner. You know the food competition?
Really?
Yeah, look, check out this video of my win on YouTube. The secret ingredient? Frozen shrimp. I'm gonna blow their minds. They're gonna be like, how did he do that?
Microwaved?
Trust me, dip it in the Howler Monkey Sauce Verde, you'll be blown away.
I love the balance of the garlic with the tang of the vinegar. I mean, it's classic. That's why it works so well with seafood.
Yeah. This combination of green habaneros and green bell peppers, it transforms the shrimp. Wow.
You were right. Dipping it in the Verde Howler monkey sauce, the combination of cilantro and sweet onions, man, that made a zero a hero.
Do you know a howler monkey who can describe the sweet heat of our original with authentic ají chombo peppers? Or the fresh punch of Verde, where habanero warmth meets crisp bell pepper? How about the bold tang of Amarillo, yellow Scotch bonnets blended with mustard seeds? And of course, our hot, the same great flavor as original, fired up with red habaneros for that fire. Our sauces are all natural, no preservatives, gluten-free, pure flavor and pure fire. Are you the next Howler Monkey spokesperson?
All right, here we go.
I swear that one part where a guy goes microwaved. I always laugh. I know I've seen it 1,000 times, man. It always makes me laugh.
It does, man, because it does. It's like, wait a minute, how are you gonna serve us microwave? But throw some Howler Monkey Verde sauce on it, and like he says, turns a zero into a hero, right?
Absolutely,
So,
I agree.
But speaking of heroes, we're gonna our World Cup extraordinary expert, our one and only Paris Royo is on. I built you up there, man, so you're gonna have to deliver it on this one here. But Paris, how you doing, man? Happy Friday to you.
Oh, he's got. Can you hear us?
He's looking for something. Is there a mute button or something? Is he muted?
I think he's muted.
Okay.
It's all right. It's all right.
It does look like it. Okay. Go ahead and click your mute button now. Hit the microphone on the lower part of your screen there on the blue label.
Oh yeah. We can't undo it for him.
No, when I do it, I hit undo and then it sends it to him to tell him to unmute it. So he'll get it. If you need to jump back in, feel free. I'll chit chat a little bit and I'll give some EFY commentary. There you go. So yeah, we're
No. I mean, this is not a Mickey Mouse platform. This is a pretty complicated little platform we have here, Mr. Willie. You know, there's a lot of buttons that you can easily screw up or miss, which is
and you know the funny thing about it is sometimes, and this is where honestly where a producer really does help, right? Somebody that takes care of this while everybody else is just doing their talking and doing their thing. So it is what it is. It's part of the gig here. Paris is just learning how to do this stuff. You know, he's great. His screen presence, his camera presence is fantastic. I mean,
he's a royal, man. We got that in our DNA.
There you go. Yeah, public speaking is definitely not a problem for you guys. Yeah, definitely so. All right.
So Willie says he can't unmute.
You can't unmute. Interesting. Let me try something here on mine.
Yeah. So maybe we can try.
Bear with me just a second here.
Maybe I can unmute him. No, I can't. Unmute request has been sent to Paris. All right.
Hold on. I got something on this end here. Let me see what I can do. Okay, so it says that you have a Mac Pro microphone built in. Is that what you're using? Or have you got a separate microphone? Okay, so you do have that. Let me see if
Well, you guys want to hear some restaurants?
Let's try. Hold on. Let me try. Try now, Paris. Try and hit unmute now.
Just click on the microphone. Nope. All right. Well, let's keep trying that, and I'm gonna give you guys some really great restaurant recommendations from Panama.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is actually coming from Chef Chaz. Now, I'll let you guys try to figure out who Chef Chaz is. Well, this is coming. These recommendations are at the beach from Chamen onto San Carlos. And you know, Willie, here on the show, we've talked about the Puke and Choke in San Carlos, right? That Bohio restaurant.
Yep.
Everybody then
Paris. The other thing to try and do is, if this doesn't work, jump on your phone. We had one of our coaches from Japan walking around his backyard on his phone, you know, and it sounded clear as can be. So for what it's worth, you want to try that, feel free.
We can try that.
Yeah.
Well, in Willie, in San Carlos now, which was famous for the Puke and Choke, right?
Yep.
I mean, and what's Zonians? We loved it. I mean, they had the best chow mein and the best, wontons anybody can. Right. Well, now they got two top restaurant there. Both seafood, because San Carlos had all that fishing going on. One's called Pascal's.
Okay.
They have a seafood called the cazuela, which is the whole platter. That's what they're known for. Pascual's in San Carlos.
Nice. Okay.
And then also in San Carlos, guys, there's a place that is so freaking good, right? They actually run out of freaking food. Okay?
How about that?
Los Camisones, also in San Carlos. And they're known again for seafood, but listen, they have grouper. That's what they're known for, grouper. Their lobster, you know how fresh lobster is up there, and their seafood paella, and that's what they're known for. But you've got to get if you hesitate, get to 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, do the Spaniard thing, you're not gonna, they'll sell out. You got to get there early because they run out of food. But if Los Camisones runs out of food, just go hit up Pascal. They're just as good.
Nice. And also, if you're in Florida, go to Sarasota, you get some arroz con pollo too. So
and Sarasota, you know what? We're going to take you up on that one when we're in that area.
Yeah, careful. Man. You have a lot of Zonians in Florida here in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, and then also highly recommended, almost like this kind of highly recommended. Second to Naps in pizza, Neapolitan pizza. Second to Naps. That's Ciao Ragazzi in Chame, which is as you come down Campana, that first place right there. Yep. Well, we talked about the John Wayne Island, the same place. They have it at I believe it's at a hotel called Ciao Ragazzi. So guys, if you're down at the beach area, all you expat guys that are watching the show, or all you Zonians that are going down there and you want to hit up some good restaurants in the beach, Pascal's and Los Camisones in San Carlos and Ciao Ragazzi.
Are you going to mention any other pizza places by any chance? Do you have any other pizza stories?
I don't have. Oh,
because I have one. I didn't want to step on your
story. Toe. Yes, yeah. Willie, why don't you share it?
Okay, is it about Veracci's?
Veracci's,
yes,
world-renowned Veracci's.
Is it was it number 1 or number 2 pizza in the world or something?
I don't remember the ranking. I don't think we're that high, but we're up there, and this is world ranking from a Milan, by a Milan contest. Versace. Is it Versace?
No, Veracci. Verace.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think actually they were like 15th or something like that.
No. It was higher than that.
But in the world,
I saw that today. It was much higher than that. No, I saw it today, and it was higher than that. Definitely higher than that.
Got you. Yeah. But no, you're right. I did see that. That's and this is the second year they've been awarded this.
Correct.
Last year they were like, last year that's when they were like 25th.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Then they bumped up. So, but this I hear is like Napoli pizza, Neapolitan. So that would be, but maybe different than Veracci. Maybe I don't know. But I got this from Chef Chaz. As very highly recommended beach restaurant. Okay. Now remember, we also recommended if you guys are in Panama and you're late night, like we always are when we're in Panama, and you want to go to a good, late night eatery or like a clubhouse bistro.
Okay.
2 places. Don't forget that. One of them is at the Balboa Bowling Alley, Nico's. That's
That place has been. I mean, Nico's as an eatery in Panama off of one. It used to be like off of Via Argentina or something.
There's several of them. Any of them are really good, but the one at the Balboa bowling alleys, you got the better parking. You might run into some Zonians,
and it's in Balboa.
The other one is in Obarrio, and they call it Costa Azul, which is really the one that won the best in Panama.
Nice.
Yeah. And so there's a couple of great restaurants. We're going to try to always update you guys on restaurant recommendations from Chef Shaz, and then see if you guys can guess who Chef Shaz is.
Yeah, there's going to be some interesting new things coming out here with the show that you're going to start seeing over the next few months that are going to be interesting. It's going to be we'll just leave it at that. Just stay tuned, but we're going to start teasing it out little by little. A lot of things in the pipeline, a lot of exciting things going on. You know, this collaboration with Thane in the Canal Zone documentary, I'm really excited about that. You know, we kind of built that off of, you know, collaborating on that Canal Zone Rocks, because that in itself is going to be a great
collaborating a lot with Shorty and Slim.
Yes, correct. And you know, John Wolf is kind of the one that got the ball rolling on this with me about 2 months ago. And
with the music,
and we started reaching out to some people from bands in the 60s and 70s. And like Ricky said earlier, James Slater, I've been working on a video for James for his song Guayabera. And we've been chatting a lot. He'll be at the reunion here in Orlando here in a couple of weeks. And you know, he's going to help out. That he was on our show, and I'll tell you what, that was one of the funnest shows that we've ever done. Was that show with James, man? It was just that was great,
man. Him playing the piano live with us.
It was.
Hey, Willie, one more bochinche
that
was important because this has to do with the canal, and it's very important because Willie, as you notice, in Pamela got all these things that go with the mine, right? The mine.
Yeah.
They don't. Some people, a lot of good friends of ours don't want to open it, and a lot of good friends of us want to open it, and this is going back and forth. Well, one of the reasons why they don't want to open it is because they said it's too close to the watershed, and it can create problems for the drinking water of Panama.
Yeah. Well, mining does use a lot of chemicals nowadays.
But the new canal administrator, our very own Miss Marota, we love her because she started at the bottom like a true Zonian all the way up to the top.
Right.
She came on TV and said, "Listen, guys, this thing is 60 kilometers away from the closest point of the watershed. That's 37.3 miles if you convert it 60 kilometers to miles."
Yeah.
So there's no, according to Miss Marota, now we would say that she's telling the truth. There is no direct connection.
I would think so. They want to protect their canal waters. You got to remember the ACP is in charge of the canal, and they recognize this, that the canal, the water that the canal uses, is also the supply of water for Panama.
2 million people.
Yeah, man. So she's not just going to take willy nilly because someone goes, "Yeah, I swear it's really
yeah. It's not going to get in there. I mean,
trust me."
So
right
there you go, guys. If you support the mine for his jobs, right on, man. It's not going to affect the watershed.
No,
but we don't take a side on this one, Willie, because that's not here or there for us, Canal Zone.
Yeah, no. It's. I mean, we're here to report what's going on, and we talk about it, but at the end of the day, guys, this is a small piece of what we do on this show, which is just because the Canal Zone as that entity may be gone, but the country of Panama was where we lived, right? It was the Canal Zone, but it was Panama. So Panama's still a big near and dear place to a lot of us, and for many of us,
we still
have family there, right? So. A lot of us have friends there for sure, so we like to keep in touch with Panama, and people like to hear about that anyway. But, we know the crux of this show really is the nostalgia, the Canal Zone and the history of that.
We always keep Casa, listening to our intro, listening to our music, our Howler Monkey, now Canal Zone documentary. I mean, we are as Canal Zone as you get. And what do we call that, Willie? Keep on zoning.
Keep on zoning. That's what it is. It's all about keeping on zoning, man.
Right. Well, my nephew's having issues with his connection, which is typical at this time. So let's just move on with your story, Willie, and then go ahead use his notes.
Yeah, there's some good coverage there either way. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff there. Let me look at something here, but let me just.
I'll jump on his dad. Make sure he gets the tip-top equipment at that house.
Ricky he was kind of giving him a hard time the other day. He goes, we gotta pick up the signal there on
Gotta get a Starlink or something there, Mr. Paris Royal.
But nonetheless, there is some good information there. He did have some really cool information. So
Yes.
I'll just jump into his chair right now and talk about a couple of things there, because like I said, guys, the World Cup has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, this World Cup has not disappointed, both in the playing on the field as well as what's going on off the field. Right? We heard last week about the Tartan Army. The Tartan Army is the Scots, right? The fans that they went to Boston, and 5 days before their game, they had already drank that town dry pretty much, and then they took their show down to Miami, and this week it was a great time there between Brazilian and Miami fans. And so overall, it's just been an awesome World Cup. No really bad incidents, really no ugly play. There was a game last week with Canada. They routed a team 6-0, and right at the end of the game, there was a really bad tackle. It was accidental, and the guy broke his leg in 2 places, man, and which, of course, sometimes could even lead to the end of a career.
A la Joel Theismann.
Yes, and it was all that. But, in these typical World Cup scenarios and stories, the guy from the other team went and stayed at the hospital with the guy while he's recovering, and then, because he felt bad about it. It ended up making it a great story,
That is sportsmanship right there.
100%,
Wow.
But nonetheless, the soccer, the football that's being played out there is some great quality football. Best part about it is that there's been a lot of parity this year. You've seen a lot of teams that are normally expected to be blown out are hanging on, sticking in those games. You're seeing where Haiti wasn't expected to do anything. Was in that game the other day up until the end, and when they finally were able to pull away. So a lot of good stories there, and then I'll just kind of cover some of the stuff that Paris was going to cover, because he put a lot of work into this, and we want to share these great stories for any soccer fans out there. But Erling Haaland, this guy's a beast, man, and like I said earlier about, club soccer being very tribal and you dislike people. I dislike this guy passionately when it comes to club soccer, because he plays for one of the big rivals of Man United. He plays for Manchester City. And he scores a lot of goals. The guy's just an animal, man. This guy came into notoriety in the world playing for Norway as like a 17 or 18-year-old, playing in a international European qualifier or whatever. And they beat a team like 11-1 or something, and he scored 9 of the goals. And all of a sudden, everyone's like, "Who the hell is this guy, man?" And he went to Germany from there, and he just lit up the German Bundesliga, and then he came to the English league and has just been. He's just a goal scoring machine, and he's vowed to set records that he says will be there for 50 years after he retires. And
Willie Panama's got a 17-year-old in the whatever league.
The Bundesliga, yes. We do. So, but this guy he's just an animal, and this is his first World Cup, and again, Norway's not one of those teams that you'd often see in the World Cup. So, if he's not going to break records, it's only going to be because Norway doesn't qualify, right? Because on their own, this guy in any other club he would be, or any other country he'd be there.
They're not like second place in their group?
Well, they're in their group, but what I'm saying is they haven't been to a World Cup in 28 years.
Oh, gotcha.
They're not, the Germanys, the Spains, Argentina teams.
I was thinking of the Netherlands,
right?
The Dutch,
the
they're
Dutch.
always
Correct.
in the finals.
Correct. Yeah, Norway's not. The Scandinavian countries are hit or miss. Every so often you get a Denmark
those guys
comes
are
in
frozen.
and plays.
Those guys play. Those guys ski and play hockey.
They do, man. They do. Listen, in those countries, their season starts like in June, July. Right, and they go on break like in mid-October, because after that everything's frozen for the next 5 months, and they can't do anything. But anyway, so he had 2 goals against Senegal. He had 2 or 3 goals the first game, so he's on a tear down there. And they did advance to the round of 16, only the third time in their history that they've done that. So a lot of exciting things going on there. The other one he was talking about, this guy Brian Brobby is playing for the Netherlands there. 3 goals in his first ever World Cup, man. Talk about a way of introducing yourself to the World Cup, man. The guy scored 3 goals, man. So that's pretty cool. I always like watching the Dutch play. I've always enjoyed, kind of been partial slightly to the Dutch teams. When they play England, of course, I don't follow them, but when they're otherwise, and I think a lot of this was growing up as a kid. You used to love to hear those names in Spanish, Holanda, Belgica, and you kind of gives it that whole European traditional fallback and stuff. But and this guy again playing in England. This is the thing about a lot of these guys, and going back to what we saw with Ghana and Panama, and now Croatia and Panama. is that a lot of these teams, just because those countries are not necessarily, power countries in the sports world, all of their players go and play in Europe. There's good players, and then they're playing in the World Cup for their African teams or their South American teams. But the truth is, these guys are European pedigree players, right? And so, when we start complaining about some of what Panama did or didn't do, take a look at who their opposition was, and all of a sudden you realize
There's
that
very little that they didn't do other than not
played
score
way
goals.
above their level, man, against these teams. So really
They
impressive there.
overperformed.
This guy from Ecuador, Eloy Room,
Right on.
26
They had a big win, didn't
total
they,
shots
yesterday?
against a huge win against Germany. Huge upset
Germans.
against Germany, right? Especially considering Germany, the first game of the tournament, they won 7-1, and everybody thought, oh boy, here we go. There's the German.
Well, they won their group.
Of course. Well, yeah. But still, that's a statement there, right? It's a statement by Ecuador.
And
this
they
guy
got to the next round by that win.
Right. Well, no, and I'm sorry, and this guy's not from Ecuador. This guy is the guy from Curacao. But this guy's just a beast at saves, right? And just, I mean, again, Ecuador had 26 shots against him, 15 on target, and he saved all of them. 100% save rate, right? And then he secured their first World Cup point, which unfortunately Panama's still chasing. But, we're going to talk about that here in just a moment about
Hey, we're
where
only 4
Panama
million
really is
people.
at, Well, not just that. I mean, you're looking at Panama based strictly on their results without really taking a look at who they faced
played,
and everything else. And then you realize that they actually played a damn good tournament, right? Cristiano Ronaldo finally scored a goal, right? I think the debate around the world about who the GOAT is between Messi and Ronaldo, I think Messi can pretty much claim that now.
Yeah, that's a done deal.
But Ronaldo still has things to prove. This guy is, he's part of that Messi-Ronaldo rivalry that's been going on for 25 years, right? If you've been following soccer, it's been great because you've had two of the best players that you've been able to watch on TV for 25 years go head to head, and a lot of that time was in the same league for the the two biggest clubs out there, Barcelona and Real Madrid. But he's not scoring like Messi. Messi has two things on Ronaldo right now when it comes to that status. He has a World Cup win from the last World Cup, and he's now the all-time leading goal scorer in World Cups. Plus in this World Cup, he's tearing it up again, and he's ahead of Ronaldo. But Ronaldo finally scored a goal, and scored a couple of goals actually, and he does have one stat that's historical, is that he's scored in 6 different World Cups, right?
Wow.
Messi played in 6 World Cups
for 24 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
But now Messi's played in 6 World Cups as well, but he didn't score in his first one. He was very young, right? And so, Modric, same thing. Luka Modric from Croatia, who just played against Panama, has played in 6 World Cups, but he hasn't scored in all of them. Cristiano Ronaldo has been scoring since day one, since that guy, it seems like he turned pro. So that was really cool to see that happen. They're going to be playing Colombia match day 3. I think they just ended up playing that game. And then, of course, Messi. Right? I mean, this guy's he's just a goal-scoring machine. He's just an amazing player. And I think as you get older, you appreciate what this guy brings to the game, right? How cool and calm and collected the guy is, and yet all he does is scores goals, man. I mean, no matter where he's at, all he does is scores goals. I've often said that I wish he had played in the Premier League, that I'm not sure he could have succeeded there because it's a bigger, rougher, tougher league. But the more I see this guy play in World Cups, he's playing against players from all leagues, he still manages to do it. So, I think I have to take that statement back and say that, as much as I'm a Cristiano Ronaldo fan, being from Manchester United and all, this guy's the bomb, man.
I was watching Messi, and he doesn't really move around too much. He just knows exactly where to be.
100%. And he's got glue on his foot because if he touches the ball, wherever he moves his foot, the ball goes with him.
Yeah, it's amazing. He doesn't run that much. He just knows where to be. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's not brute strength. It's up here, And especially as you get older, where you really aren't going to outperform somebody physically. But if you know where to be and you know where they're going to turn and they turn the opposite, that's just enough for you to get that quick kick. And
that's what he does. He gets the pass and he turns around, boom, kicks it in.
By the time you realize it, you're watching the ball go in the net, and you're like,
yeah, right on.
So, yeah, but great stuff there. And then, of course, the game on Tuesday, Croatia won, Panama nothing. We watched the game last week on TV against Ghana, And I thought Panama played a great attacking game. I thought the second half they kind of slowed down a little bit, let Ghana get back in the game. But Ghana didn't score until the 94th minute. So, I mean, they did hold them. And then when you started looking at that Ghanaian team, you look at some of these guys where they're playing, and these guys are all playing in first and second divisions in Europe. They're just a great, great team. Then you look and see what Ghana did against England, and they held England to a draw.
Right. And not one single sports guy has said that Ghana outplayed the Panamanians. Not one.
There's only one sports pundit in the whole World Cup that's had to eat his words, and that is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Love the guy.
Oh, yes. I've been watching that.
But remember, he said that Panama was going to be the punching bag of this.
Punching bag, right.
And I mean, even players for Croatia and Ghana have said they're no punching bag.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Croatia
and
struggled.
He did take it back. I did see that when he took it back.
He did. He recognized that, man, this team, in any other group, I think Panama walks into a second place, and in some groups, hey, they could be fighting for even first place in that group. There's no doubt in my mind from what I watched play. So when we get to the Croatia game, I sat in the upper deck behind the goal, which is a great vantage point for one half if the team's attacking, because you get to see it all in front of you. The other side, it's on the field. On TV, it looks further than it really is. When you're in the stadium in real life, it's not really that far away. But the one great thing about sitting behind the goal is you get to see the entire team move. And that impressed me more than anything was Panama's discipline. They played positional soccer really well. Luka Modric for Croatia, who is an absolute stud of a player. Granted, he's 40 years old, but he's still a great player, and they pretty much shut him down. Okay, that guy, he was the first player to be subbed by Croatia when the game was still 0-0. Okay, and remember, Croatia came off of a loss against England, so this was a must-win for Croatia, and they're taking their best player out because Panama locked him down. But to me, the most interesting thing about it was the fact that entire game, Panama just attacked. And the previous versions of Panama we've seen, they're one of those teams that says, man, let's just try and not give up a lot of goals, and if we get lucky on a counterattack, we can just run right and play counterattacking football. They did not, man. They played a good, disciplined, purposeful attacking game. And yes, their finishing could be better, but overall, they really were a good team. And it's the ugly part of the beautiful game that sometimes the better team doesn't win the game. And in this case, the better team on the field was Panama, but they just didn't have that one finish.
They couldn't score. You know what? The future team, the future stars, we have a Zonian on that future star.
Yeah, we certainly
team.
do. We certainly do. So, but again, kudos to Panama for doing all that stuff because again they were a really, really quality squad that went into a group that really was a brutal group. Whoever comes in third place in that group is very likely going to go into the third round, into the next round anyway, right? They were just three really, really tough groups. And so, it's just, it is what it is, man. It's,
But we were there. That's all good.
Yeah,
hey, this little shout out here, Willie, to a 90th birthday party for.
Yes, I saw that earlier. Right on. Good call.
Mom. Sorry, Willie. I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt you,
please do.
But
Please
that's a very important one. She's always on our show. Thank you so much
100%,
for that.
100%.
Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, no, I got no problem with that whatsoever. So anyhow, like I said, one of the things about this last week for me is on Sunday night, I had the pleasure, the privilege of spending 3 days in Toronto, Canada with my son. We went and watched the World Cup.
Did you bring any pictures or any videos? Or
We did. In fact, let me go ahead and play a little montage of what we put together, and I'll kind of talk about everything that we saw. It was in Toronto. We left Sunday night, got in really late at night, so managed to get into our hotel, which was kind of interesting. It actually wasn't a hotel. It's the University of Toronto. It's one of their dorms, and it's through Verbo, like an Airbnb type thing. You rent the dorms. No TVs in this. I mean, you talk about bare bones, right? It's got 2 separate rooms, a shared bathroom, and that's it, and a bed. But
that's all you need.
That's all we were there for, right?
Yeah, you're not going to be hanging out in your room.
Correct. Monday morning, then we kind of, check things out. And this is the one place where I will say I was kind of disappointed in Toronto. This is at the airport there, that YYZ, which, by the way, Bud Tristano turned me on to this. YYZ, which is the city code for Toronto, is also that Rush song. And in the tune, in Morse code, the tune is Morse code for YYZ. So I was like, that's kind of clever. So
we're like Panama's PTY, San Francisco,
correct, yes,
SFO.
Three-letter codes are exactly. And so YYZ is Toronto. All the Canadian cities that start with a Y for whatever strange reason. This was one of the soccer things where you're trying to kick it against these score things or whatever. And the proud moment for me on this one is that my son tried it. He scored 78. And I tried it, and I scored 94.
84, right on.
So here, this was sent to us from Carlton Morris.
Carlton Morris, who was there with Sherry, yes.
Let me tell you, I was there, and this was amazing to see this many.
Those are all Panamanians, by the way.
Yes, that was only Panama.
That's Willie's boy there.
Yep, and then we went to Fan Fest the next day. This is game day, as you can see. It's sunny out now.
What's your son's name?
Beckham.
Beckham.
Yes.
Of
and
course.
This is a Croatia fan. Like I told you, this is that friendly atmosphere.
That's Mitchie Hearn.
No. But this is the way that was that whole atmosphere. You see, hey, can I get a picture? He's like, yeah, of course, man. And just that in general was the atmosphere. I was watching the England game first, and I had to throw on my England shirt because I was rooting for England. Right? They had to beat Ghana in order to give Panama a chance to continue in the World Cup because, if they didn't, it was going to make things a little bit tougher for them. But this Fan Fest was a lot of fun, dude. There was concerts going on there. It was all kinds of really neat stuff. The one real downside of the Fan Fest was it was highway robbery. I wanted to get a Panama shirt like the one my son's wearing there in that picture there. They wanted $180.
What?
Yes. Just the T-shirt that says FIFA 2026 on it, generic black T-shirt, was $65.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, nope, not gonna happen.
Yeah. You're not gonna wear a $180 freaking T-shirt.
Heck no. Now, this is interesting. So this group here, right? These three girls here, Beckham and I are sitting watching the stage. Okay, the stage was there. We were turning around the other way. We're just watching whatever, and and I've got my camera and I'm taking pictures, whatever, and just enjoying the atmosphere. And I turn around and there's these three ladies sitting behind me. The one in the sunglasses there, that's my cousin. I haven't seen in 35 years.
What?
And she was standing literally behind me. And I turn around and she's like, hey, how's it going? Just nodded like, hey, what's up? And so I moved up right now. I was like, hi. And she instantly, recognized me. And of course, big hugs. And that's her two daughters who I'd never met, but yeah, how about that, man? How about that? In Toronto at the World Cup Fan Fest, I turn around and there's my cousin standing behind me, man. So that just made it even extra special, right?
Right.
Just a lot of fun there. But so we went to Fan Fest, watched England. I had my England shirt on, rooting for England. Unfortunately, they were able to just get a draw out of it. So unfortunately, what that does is make sure that England needs to score a lot of goals in their last
against
game,
Panama,
which is against Panama, right? Because they need that tiebreaker against Ghana. So. But the game ended. Off we went, and or the game, England game ended, and so then we started making our way towards the stadium. Right, big march. So those are the Toronto cops. Cops are awesome, and Ricky and I, of course, we have that affinity for law enforcement, being
Our
children of
parents.
law enforcement and all that. But everybody in Toronto was absolutely top notch, as friendly as you could ask for, giving directions, whatever. Listen, I left some chicken wings on the tram. These two ladies got off at the other stop and they came running back to bring it to me, man. It was just like, it was some wings, man. Thanks. But, it's just, but that's, it's just great memories, that people are that way. They make you enjoy their city, right? So we get to the World Cup and we have to walk in, and again, it's like everything is a long walk, but it was really cool walking in that long march with all the, the whole crowd. It kind of the walk to the stadium thing. It was, really, really fun, very traditional. And let me tell you that those Panama fans, if you have never been to a Panama game, oh, by the way, this is at the beginning when they're going to do the national anthem. And the TV does not do this justice. When you see this on the field, it's so impressive to watch, And then they, the really cool thing is that on the video stands, they put all the lyrics to the song. So if embarrassing enough you don't know the lyrics to the national anthem, you can sing along anyway, right? and they do something awesome halfway through the song. They cut the music off, and it's just the crowd, and it's really, really amazing. So you can see this is kind of where I was sitting, so I could see all the action. Watching the different plays and what was going on. But here's what's, and at least you can hear it. It was, hold on. I probably don't want to hear it actually. And maybe we make sure this is not a PG or R-rated show here. But so
yeah, we'll get demonetized.
Well, here's the thing about it. Okay, let me tell you something. I
finally figured out what that means when you're demonetized. Yeah, they don't run ads on your page.
Well, they do, but you ain't getting paid.
Oh, they do, but you're not getting paid. Got you. When are they going to run ads on ours?
Right. They're like, we need some. Kind of like what Thane was saying. Somebody needs to say that there's real fans here. All right, so there's on the way to the airport now. We're finally leaving, and we drove right by the stadium, which was kind of cool to see the whole stadium still lit up with the World Cup stuff. There's still games going on there. It wasn't, it's not the end of the world, for them at least. But no, what I was going to get at, two things that I was going to that really stood out about this World Cup and Toronto in general. On the days that there wasn't a game in Toronto, you could not tell that there was a World Cup there. It was really disappointing. There was no festivals, there was nothing. I mean, I swear to God, there was nothing. That little thing that we were doing where my son was kicking the ball, that was the only thing going on. And there was like 5 people there. It blew me away. And I was talking to somebody, a Canadian, the next day. He had his Canada jersey, and I said, let me ask you. And he goes, let me tell you what, dude. I just flew in from Vancouver yesterday. I was watching the games over there. Totally different vibe there.
Yeah.
Even on non-game days, there's festival. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Toronto didn't do anything. So not to knock Toronto, but y'all dropped the ball, man, because you have, just from Panama alone, they had 25,000 people fly to Toronto. Okay. And there's Croatian fans there. There's Ghanaian fans. There's a lot of fans from some big countries there, and it was just interesting that they did that. But overall, like I said, on the game day, that fan fest was outside of them trying to rip you off on clothing. It was a lot of fun. It was just a blast. The people there, the energy. It's hard to describe, man. If you enjoyed carnivals combined with a Super Bowl combined with Final Four, that's what you get, and then multiply it. That's the feeling you get in a fan fest when you're around that crowd.
Sounds like a Friday night football game. Oh, Saturday night football game at Balboa Stadium between
like
Rams and Kiwanis.
Yeah, like a Kiwanis Rams Shrine Bowl. You're right. It was just great fun. But again, everybody's super friendly. After the game, the Croatian fans, hey, good game, guys. There wasn't any, hey, screw you, and everybody really, really behaved themselves well. It was just absolutely top notch. Now, Panama fans, okay. I love Panama fans, okay? I have never experienced Panama fans like this, okay? These guys are rabid, okay? It is chucha su madre, que this, que that, nonstop, and they have their chants where they sing and they're just blasting people. The Croatians had some saying that they would start saying, and it sounded something upela, and they would start saying, and next all the Panama fans would be like, chupalo, chupalo, just to override them and stuff. It was a lot of fun. It's definitely not G-rated. It's not PG-rated. In fact, it's definitely R-rated, but it was.
Oh, really? No way. But all in good fun, right? There was no
totally. It was all in good fun, and a lot of it is directed out at the field.
Got you.
Pasa la bola, and all of a sudden you hear them all going, chucha su madre, chucha. It's just wow. It's brutal, man. But there was a lady that was sitting in front of me. She's Panamanian, she probably maybe, late 60s or whatever. And the first time she heard that chant, she's like, but then after about 5 minutes of that, she's cracking up, man. She got into it. It was fun. It was just, it was cool to see that the Panama fans, in their own way, but that's, and really we hear those words and we think of them, like, wow, that's really vulgar. But in Panama, that's, it's like saying something, oh, that's bullshit. Okay, it's really not that bad. But it's just cool to see the Panama fans have that, They have some chants that are some songs that you're talking 20,000 people all in the stands singing the same song. It's It was really, really well done.
It was
So,
worth the. It was worth the money. The
100%.
experience was worth the money.
Without
right
a
on,
doubt,
Willie,
Ricky.
man.
Without
That's
a
cool,
doubt.
man. I'm
Yeah,
glad you shared that with us.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great,
Yeah.
great experience. I'm
A
thrilled
lot
that I
of
got to do
Zonians
it.
were probably there.
And more, that's the one thing where I think I was just kind of caught up in so many things and so overwhelmed that I didn't really get together with Zonians. And it was just, and most of it, honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed spending time with my son. It was,
for
my
sure.
son is a soccer fan through and through like I am. And so, it was great
experience.
It sure was. No regrets whatsoever about it. So,
Well, your next big thing is the reunion.
Yes, yes.
Let's talk about this great story here. Go ahead, Willie.
Yeah, thanks. Great story about my parents. Wally and Beth Trout invited them to dinner on a blind date on my mom's birthday, June 28th. My dad's birthday was the day before. They got married 2 months later. Beautiful. That's the way that works, man. That's the way that works. I love that. Those are the great Zonian stories. I love that stuff. My mom and dad, similar fashion, they were actually, it was a blind date from another Zonian, Zonian that got them together. And that was on December 3rd. And on December 24th, 3 weeks later, they got married. And they got married until my mom passed a few years ago. But yeah, it was cool. That's a great story. So happy birthday, happy 90th. That's awesome. Happy birthday to your mom, grandma, or whoever it was you said for your mother's 90th birthday. Yes, right on. Well, happy birthday to her. So
Right on, yes.
Cool.
My mom's like 86, so yeah.
Yeah. No,
It's great that when you reach 90.
Absolutely. So, anyhow, guys, that is kind of what we figured out about our Substack this week. We figured out some stuff about little things about Panama, World Cup stuff. Sorry that Paris couldn't get that audio working. We'll work on that and get it taken care of for next week because he does bring a great flavor to that.
The youth angle we like.
Yeah, well, but his research was spot on too. Every one of those things are great stories about what's going on with the World Cup. So I'm looking forward to getting him on next week. We'll work through those things. We'll have to jump on maybe Wednesday or Thursday and test everything to make sure it's
Absolutely.
everything's working right. But don't forget, guys, next week, beginning of the month, Dave Dahlstrom's going to be joining us. We were supposed to remember what he was going to be talking about, and I don't remember off the top of my head. But as always, it'll be stuff.
It'll be interesting. It'll be entertaining.
Right?
We're going to be blown away.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to be saying how lucky we are to have David share all his knowledge.
Yes. No doubt.
And then we'll take a break. And then when we come back from the reunion, guys, we'll be doing an architectural segment again. But don't forget, reunion weekend, especially Friday night. Keep an eye, hit notify, because Willie might pop in and show you what's going on in the different activities.
You got it.
We'll do our best.
Yep, we'll do our best. But either way, guys, have a great weekend. Stay watching some soccer. There's a lot of great soccer out there. Go Panama Saturday against England, sort of. But anyway, have a great weekend. Ricky, get us out of here, man.
Hey, you guys, thanks a lot. Don't forget, keep zoning, you guys. It's all about the Canal Zone. Keep on zoning. We love you very much. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, everybody.